Hello everyone, welcome to the second video of the topic dictionaries. I request you to please watch the first one if you haven't already. And in this video, we're going to be covering a couple of dictionary functions. So let's begin. The first function that we're going to be covering is the get function. So what exactly is the get function? We'll understand through an example. Taking a dictionary like this one. So this is our dictionary. A map to geeks, B map to for, and C map to geeks. So now what does the get function do? So the get function returns the value of any key that we input it to. Let's just write it here. Get functions return value to particular key, value of key. How does that happen? We'll check. So my dict.get. Now let's say we want the value to key A. We pass key A and we get geeks. Let's say we want the value to B. We pass B and we get for. Now, as you remember from the last lecture, we can do that by using the square brackets as well. For example, in square brackets, I pass A, it gives me geeks. I pass B, it gives me for, and I pass C, it gives me geeks again. So now the question arises, what is the difference between giving a square bracket or using the get function? So the difference being, now let's imagine there is a key that is not present in this dictionary. Now, as you can see, any random key, let's assume D in this case, is not present in this dictionary. Very visible. So now if I run this code, print my dict of D, it is going to throw me a key error D. So this means that the key that I am trying to access, which is the D key, it is not present in my dictionary. However, if I use the get function, so I write my dict.get D or D, any one, and then I print. So it returns me none. So instead of throwing an error, it tells me none. So I am getting a none type variable. Now one more functionality the get function provides is that it allows you to print whatever you want or return whatever value you want it to return it to. So alongside the key that I want to access, I would write key not found. So what does this mean? This means the get function would search for the D key, and if the D key is not present in the dictionary that we've defined, then it should print key not found. If we run it, it prints key not found. What if it finds the key that we are looking for? It will give me the value corresponding to that particular key. Okay, understood? Moving on. Also, one last thing before we move on, it does not necessarily have to be a string. You can even return a 0. So for example, we again access a key that is not present. You can return 0 or 1 or anything that you want to. So get function allows you to access a key, and if the key is not present, by default it will give a none type variable, but you can also return it, you can get it to return whatever you want to. Okay, moving on to the next function. The next function is items. So items, what does the items function do? Let's see what it does and then we'll get to explaining it. We have the same dictionary and we print my dict.items, and it gives us dict items, and what we can see is a list. What is this list? So list of tuples. So for example, if we try to access the first element of this list, I need to convert it to list first before I can access it. Yes, so it gives me a comma geeks inside a tuple. So what does items basically do? Items returns me list of tuples. And what is in those tuples? The tuples have the key value pair inside them. So I'd get a list of tuples and the tuples would have key value pairs. So for example, I have this dictionary and let's say I want to access the second element that would be the first index. So second element, that is the first index. So my dict dot items, and we'll convert that into a data type list, and then we want to access the first key value pair. So it gives me b comma 4, but I want to access only the value, not the key. So if this is a tuple in like k comma v, then as you can see, this is the 0th index and this is the first index. So if I want to access the value, I'd pass in the first index. If I wanted to access the key, that will give me the 0th I would pass the 0th index. So in this scenario, if I pass in 0, it will give me b, which is the second element or the first indexed element, not element, first indexed key. Similarly, if I pass in 1, it will give me 4. Okay, so now we know what items does. Okay, moving on to the next function, that is keys dot keys. So now let's see what does the keys function does. Same dictionary, print my dict dot keys. What does it do? It returns a list of keys. Very similarly to items, it has its own object data type. So if you want to access any keys, you would have to convert it into a list first. So you convert it into a list and then you get a list of keys. Okay, not much explanation required here. Moving on, next function is dot values. Let's just cover it according with dot keys because it's not very different. So what does dot values do? So instead of keys, you type in dot values and you see that it returns us a list of the values. Same object data type, want to access a particular value, convert it into list. Not much to understand here. Okay, so now we'll move on to another function that is a bit important. It is dot update. So what exactly does update do? So now take for example that I have this dictionary. Okay, but now what I want to do is I want to update the value of A from geeks to, let's say, Amsterdam. So I have a dictionary and I want to update A, which is currently mapped to geeks. I want to update it to Amsterdam. Okay, so how do we do that? We use the built-in update function. Now what does the update function take as a parameter? Update function takes another dictionary as a parameter. So I want to, let's say, change, I'll define another dictionary and change a, the new a, which is map to Amsterdam. And in the update function I'll pass the change dictionary. So now as you can see, a is common to both the dictionaries, so the update function will see, okay, which all changes does he want to make, and it'll compare and then change the value. So if I now print my dict, you'll see that A is mapped to Amsterdam, B is mapped to 4, and C is mapped to geeks as usual. Let's say you want to change another key. You don't need to create a new dictionary every time you want to do that. You just add it to the update function. And let's say for C you want to update C map to Delhi. So now you see A is mapped to Amsterdam, which is new, B is mapped to 4, same as usual, C is mapped to Delhi, again new. Okay, so update function takes another dictionary as parameter, changes whatever you want to. Now let's use one more method to change a particular key, like we discussed in previous class and also right now, that if I have this particular dictionary and I want to access a particular element, then I can use the square brackets, right? However, I can also use the square brackets to update a value. So my dict square brackets a is equal to, in Python, is equal to is an assignment operator. Now up until now in maths you would have studied that, you know, LHS equal to RHS, so equal to means they are both equal or not. In Python, single equal to sign means assigning a value to a particular variable. So my dict square brackets a is equal to Amsterdam. So you assign the value to the key a, and then you again print my dict and you get the value. A has Amsterdam, B has 4, C has geeks. B, C, same values, A, new value. This is useful if you want to change a single value of the key, and the update method is useful if you want to change multiple values, multiple key values. So you can just pass in dictionary and it's easier then. Okay, moving on to the in and not in functions. Let's see the in and not in. Okay, so let's say you want to check if a particular key exists in the dictionary or not. So let's say this is same dictionary from above, and I want to check if the key A is present in my dict or not. So I'll just print the response if A is present or not. True. True. A is present. Yes, we know it's present. We can see it right here. So A in my dict gives a Boolean value. A in my dict, true. Yes, it is present. Now let's say D in my dict. This should give us false. Why? Where is no D? We can see from the dictionary right here. Now what if I want to check if D is not in my dictionary? So I would say D not in my dict or not in my dictionary. If I run this code, true. Yes, the key D is not present in your dictionary, so it gives true. However, as I say A is not in my dict, this will give me false, because is A not in my dict? No, false. It is in your dictionary. Okay. Similarly, you can use this in an if and else loop. So for example, if key A in my dictionary, print key found, else print key not found. Key found, it's there, given key is there. We can also create it in a manner that variable is input. So it takes an input from the user. So now I will take an input. If I type in A and then I press enter, it says key found. Yes, key is present in the dictionary. This key is present in the given dictionary. It's there. If I type in Z, sorry, key not found. Okay, so in and not in, understood? Cool. Moving on to the length function. Now what exactly does the length function do? Length gives us the number of key value pairs. So if I type print length of my dictionary, it gives me 3. I have 3 key value pairs here. A with geeks, B with 4 and C again with geeks. Okay, there's not much explanation required here. Just tells you how many key value pairs are there. Okay, so before we end the lecture, there is one very important topic that I'd like to discuss, that is creating a dictionary using the zip function. Now this is unorthodox and you probably won't need it, but still a little bit of extra knowledge goes a long way. So now example, I have 2 lists. Let's say L1, which is a list of strings A, B, C, and then I have another list that is again a list of strings geeks, 4, geeks. Now I want to create a dictionary such that the values of L1 are mapped to the values of L2. So now how to do that? I'll name a variable myDict, and then I'll use the dict function. Then I'll use the zip function. So the zip function will create a zip object of both the lists L1, L2, and if I print myDict, it'll give me A is mapped to geeks, B is mapped to 4, and C is mapped again with geeks. Now the positioning of L1 and L2 inside the zip function is very important, because that decides which particular list will form the keys part and which particular list will form the values part. So like if I give in L2, L1, then the mapping would differ. And now it would say geeks is mapped to C, 4 is mapped with B. Now the question arises, why did geeks not map with A? Because you would remember that only unique keys can be present. So the zip function works from left to right. It maps geeks with A, it maps 4 with B, but then it again encounters geeks. So geeks, which is key already present, will now be updated with the C value instead of the A value previously. Okay, so that's all for today's lecture. Thank you.